r/Askreddit by Reddit and chill. What should society be less accepting of? Using the phone while driving. More accidents occur because of phone usage than drunk driving. I don't want to get hurt because you had to text your boyfriend. I even see cops doing it. Misinformation. It sucks that when someone posts something on social media that can be debunked with a 10-second Google search, and you point this out, you're the one who everyone will think is a twat. I remember reading a Facebook post about how if you input your PIN code backwards at the ATM, the police will be alerted of the robbery. This information is not only false but incredibly dangerous. Imagine someone attempting this and then playing the situation in hopes that the police will be coming at any moment, but the police aren't coming. Drunk driving. It takes like 4 DUIs in my state before it's a felony. It was worse before the 90s or so. Back then it was treated like a joke, no worse than a speeding ticket. If you were middle class or well known in town, the cops would forget to give a breathalyzer and drive you home. Child beauty pageants. I remember in GTA IV, if you go on the internet in that game and go to a child beauty pageant, you literally get a 5-star police on site. And honestly, that's one of the best moments in video games. Pseudoscience. One of my acquaintances is super into astrology and she's in trouble at work. BC, she's a nurse and she was sleeping with one of the married doctors, who is also in trouble, and when I asked why, she said we were compatible and I'm a Pisces, it's just what I do. The inability to accept that you are wrong. You are not the divine being that is all-knowing and is never wrong. Every single person can be wrong about something. My sister posted something on Facebook along the lines of, I need someone who can teach me some useful lessons. To which I replied that she has 6 siblings. To which she replies, I'm the oldest. You guys can teach me a thing. To which I replied, just because you're the oldest doesn't mean people haven't gone through different experiences than you and know less than you do. To which she replied, they don't. Such a simple approach to life, and to be honest, after a few months it's starting to piss me off how dumb she is. You know, because ironically she's the oldest but she's the second dumbest, only beating out my 6-year-old sister. She's a sneak disser. She threatened to beat my mom's ass, and the worst of the worst, she sold weed to my 17-year-old brother without my mother knowing before knowing it was wrong. She puts weed and being overweight on a pedestal and posts bullshit like don't hate because I'm extra thick and an assortment of posts from a bunch of random websites saying how good weed is for you. Yet she still claims to be the best of the best in the family. I don't think she's ever admitted to being wrong. I love my sister, but God, I hope someone comes around and puts her in her place. Bad parenting and getting children when the conditions the children have to live in would clearly be bad. It's way easier to mess up a young brain than many seem to realize. Also, pressuring people who don't want kids for whatever reason to have kids for any reason. The expectation that employees be reachable constantly even outside of work hours or during paid and unpaid time off. It effectively creates a situation where you are on call 24/7. This was not an expectation set at hire and is not an expectation of my position in general. But they sent out an email telling everyone to out their cell into a spreadsheet. I just didn't. They sent a stern reminder email. I still didn't. They highlighted the 3 people out of 80 who didn't put their cell S in. I do not care. Pay for my cell phone bill if you expect me to use it for work. People who get on an elevator before others have had a chance to get off. Not using turn signals. Definitely. And for the love of Pete, turn them on at least 100 feet before you turn. I've almost been in and seen wrecks caused by drivers seemingly randomly hitting their brakes and starting to turn before hitting the blinkers. Pisses me right off. People having phone conversations on speaker in public, or sitting your kid down with a YouTube video with the speaker on in public. I don't care that it keeps your kid under control. Every generation before this had to learn to behave in public without the help of a screen. My country's long distance trains have a certain number of silent carriages. I always book those and then these rules are never enforced. I speak up about it. But people treat you like a fascist for pointing out that the carriage is specifically marked a silent carriage with signs reminding everyone not to take phone calls. People who come up with plans then don't follow through with them without a little common courtesy. Agree with this. Especially because people spend time getting ready for the plans and in some cases, preparing mentally to go through with plans or getting excited. Prescribing antibiotics like it's ducking candy. My friend has a cold. Goes to an idiot doctor. She just gives her antibiotics which she takes until she feels better. Doesn't even take the full dose. The doctor is an idiot because most colds are caused by viruses and she doesn't order any tests. And my friend is an idiot because I told her 390,209 times about antimicrobial resistance and her answer is always, but my doctor gave me this and I felt better after a few days. Yeah, no shit, you feel better after a few days. That's because colds only last a few days and you would have felt better even if you hadn't taken the antibiotic. She does this 4 times a year and ruins her stomach in the process and doesn't realize how this can be dangerous. Stop taking antibiotics because of a cold. You have a viral infection. I agree with this, but there are some doctors who won't prescribe antibiotics when you need them. I was in the hospital a few years ago for strep that turned into tonsillitis. I'm prone to strep, so I knew the drill. Just needed some amoxicillin and I'd be on my way. This doctor I saw belittled me and told me it wasn't strep, refused to do a strep test, and told me she wasn't comfortable just throwing antibiotics at it. Went for a second opinion the next day when I couldn't talk, eat or swallow, and the second doctor asked why I hadn't come in sooner for antibiotics. A-holes. When they cut the line in a queue or act in a screwed up way towards cashier at a coffee shop, grocery store, or drive like a maniac. Most people, at least in my country, let the a-holes do whatever they want. Don't accept that. Especially when they are outnumbered. Tell them to behave or duck off. The stricter we are towards them, the lesser they act as if they own the place. Make your own and other lives better by standing up at times against unacceptable behavior. Confused British noises. Getting a pet only to dump it in a shelter a year later when it is no longer convenient to have a pet. People who are late, either on purpose or without regard for others. Thank you. I am so tired of people just saying I'm chronically late like it's no big deal. Or admitting to it makes it cute. Hey asshat. My time is just as valuable and you running on your own schedule instead of the one we agreed upon is inconsiderate and rude. Not vaccinating your kids. That's just abuse. My colleague has been complaining about the novel coronavirus every day since it emerged in China, worried about it affecting her kids at school, and yet she doesn't vaccinate her kids for the flu. When they get fevers she wonders why it happens. I don't appreciate her coughing and sneezing all over my desk when she comes over either. Annoys the shit out of me that she doesn't understand the irony. Pack mentalities. The lack of individualism and free thought is mind-blowing to me. Yeah dude. Me too. Planned obsolescence. This does my nut in. That and things that are made to be unfixable to the user. People excusing shitty behavior with it's just how they are. Okay, but that doesn't mean it's not bad. I don't care if your grandpa grew up in a different type. Still can't be using racial slurs. Elder abuse and neglect. Built-in obsolescence. Products absolutely ducking suck nowadays. Nothing lasts more than a few years. And that's entirely by design. All products should either be guaranteed through a significant period of time, or come with a sticker detailing its expected lifespan. Apple got fined for this just recently. But it's basically pennies compared to what they make. Rich people and politicians breaking laws as they please. Like Epstein's Island list. Every person in that should at least have been investigated and not swept under the rug. Men being treated like they aren't allowed to have feelings. I'm a female. But I understand that everyone has emotions. And when my dad tells my brother to man up, he comes to me to cry. It sucks because my mom does the same thing to him. When I cry, it's just OS hell be okay, it's just he happy I'm of the month. It makes me mad. My boyfriend has been kinda depressed lately because he is a bit shorter than others. And anytime I hear someone call him short behind his back I get all over them for it. Driving without glasses. If you need them. Where I'm from the enforcement is thankfully strict. But I've heard, mostly American, people say stuff like, yeah. When I got glasses I was like wow. I can see a lot better. Especially when driving I could see signs. Like 5 times as far away as normally. But like, who wants to wear glasses all the time lol? I even lost my pair. Because I didn't use them. I'm sorry. No. You absolutely do need glasses. That's almost as bad as drunk driving. And it absolutely floors me how casually people seem to take the topic. I've never heard this before. I wasn't even allowed to take the written part of the driver's test without wearing my glasses. The only people I can think of that would feel this way are some older people. It's an old belief that glasses are unattractive, so many don't wear them unless they absolutely have to. Especially if their eyesight only started to decline as they get older. People don't like to be reminded that they aren't as young as they used to be. Blindly following the popular opinion. People don't think for themselves nearly as much as they should. There is no harm in taking a minute to research the accuracy of something before stating your opinion on it. Ducking weirdo kiddie beauty pageants. Jumping to conclusions. It's a jump to conclusions, Matt. The attitude "my feelings are your problem." Especially when combined with "I don't have to consider your feelings at all because you're one of them." Not washing your hands after using the bathroom. Even worse. Just barely putting your hand, singular, under the tap after using the bathroom. You only do that because you're ashamed of the fact that you didn't wash and you want other people to think you did. It just makes it easier for your germs to spread. You gross mother ducker. I don't know if there's anything worse than a bathroom with shitty hand dryers and no paper towels. Like, great. Now I get to put my freshly cleaned, but wet warm hands on dirty bathroom taps and a doorknob. Like, what's the point? Disregard for facts and thorough thought process. Political parties. Especially the sports team us versus the mentality we have now. Adultery and other forms of psychological abuse. It's romanticized in movies and TV shows. Victims aren't recognized as victims. It's gross. Toxic mind games in relationships and dating. Super bright headlights. Making a lot of kids you can't afford and making their lives miserable. Making it okay for people to die BC a company can't find a way to make it profitable. Obesity. And I'm obese. Not judging. Just stop trying to convince me that my lack of self-control is healthy, beautiful, or acceptable. Obesity shouldn't be accepted as healthy body image, but making you feel like shit about yourself isn't a solution either. Being happy with yourself should be the motivation to get healthy. Treating retail service workers like garbage. These people have zero control over their company's policies. But some customers think it's okay to take their frustration out on service workers in the nastiest of ways. The customer is not always right. And there needs to be less enabling and more shaming in response to Karen behavior. Driving high. Crazy how many people think it's fin to drive stoned. I know it's not as dangerous as driving drunk. There are studies on this, but it's still an idiotic, irresponsible and selfish thing to do. It may just be my own preferences showing. But I'd like us all to be more against reality TV. Shows like Love Island, Paradise Hotel and That Jersey Show. They feed the consumer drama. I see no intellectual content whatsoever. I'm not saying every TV program has to be a documentary about the Neolithic or the behavior of apes narrated by David Attenborough. But I would like programs of that nature to be ranked above the empty-minded reality shows. I don't know if there's some nuance I'm not seeing with these shows. It just seems like sexy dumb people getting drunk, sunbathing, yelling and ducking. Prison rape. Improper use of capital letters in sentences. Domestic abuse towards men. The idea that the very day a girl turns 18, it's totally acceptable for gross ass dudes to start sexually objectifying, harassing her. She was legally a child yesterday. You don't. Some people don't even wait. Watching loud videos in public and disturbing everyone. Just use earphones or turn the volume down. Cults. Like child bride. Rewarding bad behavior. Canceling people. Cancel culture has a place. Such as with dangerous people who otherwise think themselves untouchable. But come on. People need to not be dragged through the mud for something that's been blown out of proportion. Sexual abusers. I dated my ex for 6 years before he casually told me his uncle molested his cousins when they were younger. Like, you let me be chill with this man for 6 years before telling me this. And everyone just sorta accepts it? It didn't help that everyone also thought my ex's dad was creepy as duck with his comments about women, but my ex never did anything about it. Nope, the duck away from that family. Ducking like and subscribe.